Alrighty, well, welcome to, here I am, another edition of Parent to Parents, and this is the Halloween edition. I hope that you are enjoying yourselves. After this, you know what? I'm going to have Dr. John Higgins come back because I feel like we definitely start the stress season with the holidays and Thanksgiving, and then, after Halloween, that whole thing happens, decorations. It's hard not to be stressed sometimes. Which can be bad for your heart health. And Dr. John Higgins knows everything about the heart. So we're going to talk to him in just a second. I want to tell you about this topic because it's very pertinent to parents, specifically parents of younger children. And we're talking about heart health and how it's so important to make sure that your child is developing those habits at a younger age because, I have family members. They're probably not going to watch this. Let me just say, they have some heart issues and it's been so difficult. They're older, so difficult for them to change. And, it's like they've never had that discipline to really have the foods, have the, workout regimen, all that stuff, like activity, all these things were not components while they were growing up for whatever reason. So my point is, I've started to implement this for my 3 and 6 year old, things that you can do. And you're maybe thinking, okay, I am just like really just surviving here. And these are things you can really incorporate into your daily life that you might not even think about. And so let me bring in Dr. John Higgins here. Dr. Higgins, thanks so much for being here again.
Yes. And Rashi, along with the theme of this, I think with a few tricks and some healthy treats.
Yes,
kids exactly. Can be a little bit healthier, I think, heart healthy.
Right.
Definitely.
Well, let's start with that because, okay, they're going to get all this candy. How do you even, there's been like Halloween parties at school. There's just like sugar overload. And how do you kind of monitor how much they eat?
Well, normally with my daughter, she's 8. What we've said to her is, okay, your limit, for example, on Halloween night, you can have 5 candies. We just said, okay, that's the limit. And then whatever is left over, she can have, a couple of candies each week. And or we encourage her also to donate some of those to, some of the shelters around us, to the and the orphanages. So we, we ask her to pick her favorite ones, like tell us which are her favorite, and we put them to one side, so that we try to encourage her to get the sort of healthier things, so that the obviously something with chocolate is going to be healthier, for example, than a hard rock candy ball, which is almost just straight sugar and coloring.
It's crazy. So, yeah. Right. I Skittles is banned in other countries around the world just because of what it has inside. So I threw away the Skittles that we had because, all that is, and I'm just reading the ingredients, half of which I can't even say. And I can't believe goes into this little bitty thing. And, I've eaten Skittles before, but there's like that, Ritz crackers. People don't really look at the ingredients. Now, of course, there's things banned here that people eat over there, but I'm just saying, you really have to be cognizant about the candy situation.
Yeah. And we also find, useful with my daughter, we actually say to her, okay, well, how much energy is in that candy bar? So for example, we may show her a little Hershey's bar, and we'll say, okay, to burn all of that off, you will have to walk for about 20 minutes, or 30 minutes. And so we're sort of trying to get her to understand the cost, of candy. It's versus, we might say to her, in contrast, having a couple of slices of apple, you only have to walk 5 minutes, so we're trying to get them to understand that, the food value is, and the energy value of different things varies a lot. And they can also, they can both make you feel good. A banana, only has 100 calories, and that can fill you up and make you feel good and is healthy. And you're getting less calories than maybe, a 200 calorie chocolate bar. So that's something. And kids, as they get older, they seem to be learning more about nutrition, both at school and at home, and checking the looking at the labels, Rashi.
Yeah, definitely. Sorry, I just have like these allergies come up, but
Oh
um,
yeah.
it happens during this time. So for parents that are watching, like I grew up, I ate whatever I wanted, I turned out fine. Um, talk about how this is kind of just like accruing in your system to where it can lead to things that you might not know about yet.
Right. So, we now know that kids these days are exposed to a lot more processed
Mhm.
carbohydrates and processed foods than kids, than when we were younger, Rashi. So, the issue becomes when they're loading up on these high sugar and high salt candies and treats that can really, really affect their body. And if they're doing it on a regular basis, short term, it can, do something like make their pancreas put out a lot more insulin and they may feel a bit upset in the stomach, as well as their blood pressure might go up a little bit more with the salt. But long term, with if they get into a habit of eating unhealthy and also drinking unhealthy, we know that most sodas and even diet sodas are not heart healthy. That kind of long term habit can result in everything from getting overweight, obese, diabetes, even high blood pressure and other premature cardiovascular disease when they're young adults. So we know that what they do now, it really is a setup for their health later, their heart health later on. Rashi, there's been numerous studies that have shown that what kids are doing in the even the tweens and the teens is will predict what type of heart history they have in down the line. So it's really important for parents to not to just blow it off and say it's okay,
Mhm.
they can, but to on the other hand, you don't want to be like Scrooge and like, okay, no candy, none of this, no,
Right, right,
then the kids will go behind your back anyway. So
right.
I think it's better to just to have a conversation about them and just maybe agree on what we're going to have. I said, we my daughter agreed with us. She's going to have 5 candies on Halloween, and she's going to do a lot of steps because we're going to be doing trick or treating and burning calories. So that's okay. And and just getting them more interested, in terms of nutrition in general, and like helping out with meals at home, and going shopping with to the grocery store. I mean, that can be a lot of education right there, and showing them, look, these are healthy choices and these are unhealthy choices. And then maybe you could make it into a game, and it's like, okay, who can find the most healthy snacks for snack at school,
Hmm.
and let them actually kind of take a little bit of control and give them a bit of control about what they can pick, as long as it meets the healthy criteria, and that will kind of makes them feel better about themselves.
Definitely. And we were going to hit on some points and how you can really incorporate this into your daily life. And it's little things you had touched upon, involving kids in the grocery shopping and the cooking. It maybe could add an extra 5-10 minutes because you might have to clean up a little bit more because it's
Right.
getting kind of crazy, but it's so worth it because it's like, well, I made this, so I might even try it. If you have picky kids,
Yeah.
it really has been, it's been hit or miss with some things because they'll run off and do something else or whatever, but as
Yeah.
long as the effort is there, that's been my experience. One thing that I also wanted to point out was modeling good behavior. So
Yeah.
I actually didn't do that when I was trick-or-treating with my son last year because I was like eating some of the candy too, and I said, no, you can't have candy. He's like, well, mommy, you're eating like 5, 6. I'm like, oh, well, I just, so I'm like, dang it. So, talk about that, modeling good behavior yourself, because this can help you too.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think that the kids, do see you as, their main information source, and that, what you do, they consider as like extremely important, because you're doing it, and it must be healthy as well if you're doing it. So having good examples everything from making sure that you are eating your fruits and vegetables. And one of the things we do is, like, at dinner, we will often start on the vegetables and first,
Hmm.
so that, and my wife and I, and then my daughter will start on her, broccoli or whatever it is, and then we kind of sort of save the protein for, later in the meal, and just we talk about, the benefits of the different parts of the meal. Like, we'll say, okay, these carrots, Ariel, this will help you with your eyesight. They've got
Hmm.
antioxidants to help your heart. The protein that this lean chicken or this lean fish you're having, this will help your muscles, to grow stronger, and for you to, and then this glass of milk, that's going to help your calcium and help your bones grow nice and strong so you can work out. So we try to, just give her a little bit of information about each of the different things on the food and why they're all important. And so we tell her, we would rather you have a little bit of the different things than just to finish one. And this is why, and she gets that. So I think, and of course, we've got to make sure we have the same things on our plate as well. I mean, we don't want to have something for that, my wife, something different for me. We've got to kind of show that we are all, in this together, and we're all trying to do something healthy. With the exception, of course, of the glass of red wine. My wife and I might be having, we might have something like milk from, from my
Of
daughter.
course, it'll be red wine. You have to be,
Yeah,
it's like one glass of red wine's fine. Dr.
yeah,
Higgins isn't taking tequila shots.
yeah. Exactly. Yeah, something like, Pinot Noir, Cab
Yeah,
Merlot, or
yeah,
something healthy. Yeah,
yeah, definitely. Um, Also, starting with small goals. So I
yeah,
will tell you that I did this with my son because he would
hmm,
always want cookies. And
yeah,
I said, why don't we just try oranges and apples? They're really good too. You should try it out. And now that has been substituted. I mean, he'll still have cookies, but he's like, well, can I have apples and oranges now? And like, he
right.
likes, actually peeling the clementine and all of that. And it was great. And you have to work at it. So like, none of this is easy, by the way, if you're listening, because sometimes you have a lot of resistance, but you make it fun. And we were in charge of snacks for his baseball game. So we had like healthy things, versus
Cool.
some parents put some crazy stuff in there. And I'm like, wow, like after a
Yeah.
game, I mean, but so we put oranges in there, we put apples in there, we did
Hmm.
also put some candy, Halloween time, but I think that the more you in my experience expose them to that, the better it
Yeah.
is. And it's
Yeah.
like,
And
if it's
and
not in the house, then you can't eat it.
right. And you're also setting an example for the other parents too, Rashi. I think
Hmm.
that's important because, oftentimes kids will, talk at school. Like, I know my daughter talks about, what some of the other kids eat, for their snacks. And she'll say, oh, such and such had this snack. And, we'll, and it's obviously, it's an unhealthy one. And we'll say, well, Ariel, we don't give you that snack. Why do you think we don't give you that snack? And she'll say, well, this is that such and such is, Oreo cookie is high in sugar. It's not as good for me as this, this bit
Hmm.
of cheese and stuff. So I think, like you said, Rashi, small goals. So we did a similar thing with dessert, and we used to occasionally have desserts, and they would be generally sort of not that healthy. Um, like various custards and things, and even some yogurt, which was quite, some of it is quite high in sugar. You've got to be careful. So we rather than have kind of like sporadic, once a week or something like that, we actually substituted we with just cut up fruit, like you were just talking about. So we had, my daughter really likes it now. We have cut up apples, we have the mandarins, sometimes grapes, strawberries,
Hmm.
and she actually prefers them now. She'll say, where, oh, hey mommy, where's the apples, the sliced
Yeah.
apples. And they, you get, I find with these younger kids too, Rashi, once you get into a habit, they kind of they expect it, and when it's not there, they actually ask for it, especially
Hmm.
if they're enjoying it. So I think the main thing is find out what they like. I mean, there's going to be some fruits that kids prefer over others.
Hmm.
My daughter, for example, likes pineapple, pieces of pineapple more than she does grapes, or she likes slices of apples, for example, more than she likes blueberries. So try to, within the repertoire, find out what is their favorite and try to, focus on that. Occasionally try some things out of the box, but if it's something that they like, generally and we you get into a habit, it's something that they will kind of just do without complaining. And then of course you can say to them, okay, look, you've got this Halloween, for example, she's got a Halloween party on Sunday that she's going to, and we said, look, we know there are going to be some unhealthy things there and some healthy things. It's okay, because you've been eating so healthy during the week and eating those healthy fruits for desserts. It's okay for you to have some of the less healthy things at the party, because
Hmm.
that's, everyone's going to be having that, and that's okay. And so she sort of sees that as a reward for her good behavior. And that's another thing. You've got to reward them for what they are doing good, especially whether that be exercise or diet. I think those rewards, because kids love rewards, and they also feel they've achieved something that is worth a reward.
Yes, definitely. And I was going to touch on that. Like when you say that, hey, it's okay, you can, eat whatever. I think that's really important because you also don't want them to become teenagers and then just be so super conscious of calories and all of that in a bad way
Yeah,
that leads to, more of um, the unhealthier things because there are teenagers now that are shouldn't be, but a lot of adults too, like on Ozempic or one of those type of
yeah,
suppressants, so that they're
right.
not eating and they're not, So if parents believe that these kind of habits may lead to that, what do you respond to them in that regard? Because I'm sure it's all about balance.
Yeah, that's what I my main theory is with them, Rashi. I tell them, look, um, if 6 days out of the week you're doing the right thing, it's okay for one of those meals one day of the week to cut loose a little bit. And
Hmm.
um, sometimes, like for example, with my daughter, we have healthy snacks most days of the week, but on Friday, at the school, we pack her lunch, but at the school they always have something a little bit less healthy, on the Friday. So we actually give her if she's eating healthy snacks all week, we give her something that's slightly less healthy, but she enjoys. It might be like a chocolate Rice Krispie bar, for example, that's 100 calories. It's not that high in sugar and that, but it's not fruit. So
Hmm.
I think if they know that the healthy thing is kind of on the way, they're more likely to be compliant with the stuff that is maybe more healthy, but they obviously their friends are eating other stuff. So I think you got to number one, you've got to tell them, hey, don't give in to the peer group pressure, and number two, have a reward system set up, and I think having a reward system has to be reasonably regular. It can't be like, oh, um, if you are really, really good on Christmas Day, in 3 or 4 months from now, you get, a reward. I mean, I think you've got to have a reward um, in the not too distant future, like for example, weekly. I think is
Hmm.
reasonable for kids, and of course, tell them, look, when you are going to out to your friends' parties and things like that, it's okay to to have some of the cake and the other things they have there, but we just tell them, make sure you are drinking plenty of healthy water, and you're doing some fun things, exercise at the party, and mix it up with, because most parties, they'll have some healthy snacks. Sometimes that's for the for the adults, and
Right.
some unhealthy things. Just tell them to make sure you don't overeat. Once, don't wait till you're stuffed to stop eating. Just once you're feeling content, uh, you
Hmm.
know they talk about, for adults, the 80% rule. Once you're feeling about 80% full, it's probably a good idea to stop. And also, trying to get them to have, for every sort of unhealthy thing they're going to have, make sure they have at least one healthy thing to balance it out. A bit of fruit or something else that's a little bit more healthy.
All right. Well, thank you, Dr. Higgins. This has been some great information, and I hope all of you are able to kind of implement this. It's all progress. We're all in a pattern here where we're trying to get better and better. So even implementing one or two things, starting to see how you eat yourself, is one of the best things also that you can probably change quicker than other things. So, Dr. Higgins, thank you so much for joining us.
Okay, thanks, Rashi. And like I said at the start, with a few tricks and healthy treats, your watches can have a happy and healthy Halloween and holiday period, and have fun out there. I hear it's going to be a bit cold, Rashi,
Yes.
so they may have to get some bit of coats on, but get those good steps in on Tuesday, Halloween evening.
Yes, and when it's colder and you're exercising, don't you burn more calories?
You do, actually.
Okay,
That's even
well,
better.
extra.
Yeah.